4 separate missile waves were reported over Tel Aviv within a short time frame, roughly 40 minutes. This was not a single launch or an isolated strike. Instead, it appeared to be a carefully coordinated sequence structured in a way that analysts say was designed to test, stretch, and gradually pressure air defense systems rather than overwhelm them all at once. According to Israeli reports, explosions were heard across multiple parts of the city. Warning sirens activated across central districts, sending civilians rushing toward shelters as emergency protocols were triggered in real time. Streets that had been active just minutes earlier quickly emptied as people followed well-practiced procedures. Authorities later confirmed that there were injuries, but no fatalities at that stage. An important detail that helps frame both the effectiveness of defensive systems and the seriousness of the incident. What makes this situation particularly significant is not just the number of projectiles involved, but the timing and sequencing behind them. In modern conflict scenarios, the order and spacing of incoming threats can be just as important as their size or payload. By staggering launches and waves, it becomes more difficult for defense systems to reset, reload, and respond efficiently. This event highlights a broader reality of modern warfare. Even highly advanced and layered air defense systems can be challenged when multiple threats arrive in quick succession, especially when those threats vary in speed, altitude, and trajectory. It is no longer just about stopping one incoming object. It is about managing a dynamic and evolving stream of targets. Some areas reportedly experienced delays or gaps in warning systems, which reduced reaction time for residents. Even a few seconds can make a critical difference in emergency situations. Despite this, emergency response teams moved quickly. Rescue crews were deployed across multiple sites, conducting search and rescue operations, assisting injured civilians, and securing impacted areas to prevent further risk. In this video, we're going to take a closer look at what analysts believe happened during these coordinated launches, how layered defense systems respond under sustained pressure, and what this could mean for the future of regional security and global stability. Importantly, this was not described as an isolated incident. Instead, it appears to be part of a broader pattern of escalating exchanges that began in late February 2026. Since then, there have been repeated reports of multiple waves of projectiles and drone activity, often combining different technologies within a single sequence. Experts suggest that combining various missile types and aerial systems, each with different speeds, flight paths, and altitudes, can significantly complicate interception efforts. Defense systems are typically optimized for specific types of threats. When those systems are forced to respond to multiple categories simultaneously, their efficiency can be reduced. Rather than relying on a single large-scale strike, the apparent strategy in this case seems to focus on sustained pressure over time. This approach tests not only the technical capabilities of defense systems, but also their endurance, how long they can continue operating at peak performance under continuous demand. One system frequently mentioned in open-source analysis is the Sigil 2 missile. This is understood to be a solid-fuel medium-range ballistic missile, which differs in key ways from older liquid fuel systems. The use of solid fuel allows for much faster launch preparation, reducing the time between deployment and firing. This matters because traditional liquid fuel missiles require a fueling process before launch, which can create a window of vulnerability where they might be detected and targeted. Solid fuel systems reduce that window significantly, making them more difficult to track before launch. Additionally, analysts have noted that some modern missile systems may be capable of adjusting aspects of their trajectory during flight. While details vary, this type of behavior can make tracking and interception more complex compared to traditional ballistic paths, which typically follow a more predictable arc. During several reported waves, multiple types of systems were used together. This created overlapping challenges for defense networks which had to track and respond to multiple incoming objects at once. Sirens were activated not just in Tel Aviv, but in surrounding areas as well, indicating a wider zone of alert. In some cases, debris from intercepted projectiles was reported to have landed in residential zones. While interception reduces the risk of direct impact, it does not eliminate all danger, as falling fragments can still cause damage or injury. Beyond the immediate impacts, attention has also turned toward infrastructure. Some reported strikes occurred near energy facilities, including power stations and industrial zones. In certain areas, disruptions to electricity supply were observed, though the full extent of the damage remains under review. This introduces a broader strategic dimension. Modern conflicts are not only about direct engagements, but also about pressure on the systems that support everyday life, energy, transportation, communications, and supply networks. Disruptions in these areas can have cascading effects that extend far beyond the immediate zone of conflict. Energy experts have long warned that centralized infrastructure can be particularly vulnerable when a significant portion of a region's electricity is generated from a limited number of facilities. Even partial disruption can affect millions of people. Another major concern raised by analysts is the sustainability of defensive systems over time. Interceptors used to stop incoming threats are highly advanced and often very expensive. In many cases, they cost significantly more than the projectiles they are designed to intercept. This creates an imbalance. For every incoming threat, a defensive response may require multiple interceptors, each with a substantial cost. Over time, especially during prolonged periods of activity, this can place both financial and logistical strain on defense systems. Even with high interception success rates, no system is perfect. A small percentage of incoming projectiles may still reach their targets. Over days or weeks, those small percentages can accumulate, increasing pressure on infrastructure and civilian safety systems. At the same time, global markets have reacted strongly to rising tensions. Energy prices, particularly oil, have shown significant volatility. One of the key reasons for this is concern over major supply routes, especially in strategically important regions. The Strait of Hormuz, for example, is one of the world's most critical shipping lanes for energy transport. Any disruption in this area can have immediate and far-reaching effects on global supply chains. As uncertainty increases, markets tend to respond quickly. This can lead to fluctuations in fuel prices, increased transportation costs, and broader economic ripple effects that impact industries far removed from the original conflict zone. The consequences are not limited to energy alone. Changes in shipping routes and supply chain reliability can affect agriculture, manufacturing, and consumer goods. From food prices to industrial production, the effects can spread across multiple sectors. So when we look at this situation, it is important to understand that it is not just about individual events or isolated incidents. It is part of a larger pattern involving evolving technology, strategic planning, and economic interdependence. After weeks of continued exchanges, one key question remains at the center of global analysis. What happens when prolonged pressure begins to impact not just defense systems but also supply chains, infrastructure stability, and economic resilience? This is the bigger picture that analysts, policymakers, and observers around the world are now trying to understand. Because in modern conflicts, the outcome is not determined by a single event, but by endurance, adaptability, and the ability to sustain operations over time. Thanks for watching. Share your thoughts in the comments. How do you see this situation evolving? And if you want more in-depth, balanced analysis like this, make sure to subscribe and like the video so you don't miss future updates.